Stampers and Crafters. It's Tina again with Tina's Crafty Ink Spot. Welcome to episode 4 of Stampin Blends 101. I really hope you're enjoying the classes so far. These are very basic, okay? I'm just trying to get a little information out there to you. And today's course is just that. I'm not going to go into the color wheel and how, you can choose alternate. We're not going to do all that. What I'm going to tell you is that you can take these markers and you can blend them together. You can make two colors that are not even close to each other blend together. I do it all the time. I just play. It's, you can take two colors, make them transition nice. They're not going to hurt your markers at all. Sometimes you have a call for them. Maybe you want an orange and yellow butterfly. This combination I use all the time. Maybe you want to do flicking and kind of just give some texture to one of your images. Have fun. Just take these markers and have fun. There's no right or wrong. I sat here and played with this one and got all kinds of crazy colors in there. You know what? It's fun. Take some black. But let's jump in. Below I've included this worksheet for you. And what you can do is print a couple of these, do some color combinations, and like the rest of our charts, keep it. Keep it for reference. Maybe a couple weeks down the line you're like, gee, what was that orange and yellow butterfly I did? Well, you know what? You can use these class worksheets to refer back to. Keep your most of what I'll give you will have some sort of color legend to write down what you used on it, because I can forget why I went in another room, so I'm sure I can't remember some of the color blends I came up with. Oops, pardon my baby girl, she's out there being a guard dog. But let's do a couple of these. I'm going to do two different ways to blend. We're going to blend straight, just a single blend, and then we're going to do a blended blend. And if you recall last week's class, we did regular blending basics. That is going to work the same way here. And as you see, I've been playing, got ink all over me this morning. Love it. Okay, so I've got my worksheet, and I've got my clear acetate. This technique is one of the ones that you're going to want to make sure you have something behind your sheet, either your class mats, like I explained to you in the earlier sessions. You want that ink to stay wet, so laying it on a piece of paper is going to absorb your ink. It's not going to let it stay on top of the paper. That's some of the if you look at really high-end alcohol marker paper, it's extremely smooth, which makes the ink kind of sit on top. Now this Stampin' Up! Paper works extremely well without having to invest in high-end alcohol marker paper. So we're just going to give it a little extra help and make sure we have something behind there that's not going to absorb the ink. So let's do a real common blend, okay, which to me is the oranges and yellows. I use it a lot for butterflies or flowers, and I see I got a little goober on my sheet, but we're not going to worry about it. I'm not going to print another one. So let's take, we've got our dark and light pumpkin pie and our dark and light daffodil delight. Now let's do a straight blend first. So what we would do is I'm just going to do it with my dark. I'm going to do it with my dark pumpkin and my dark daffodil. Now you can use either end of your marker that you want to use. I'm going to probably use my feather tip. We're going to lay it to the side, and let's just color our butterfly here. We want to use our blending strokes. Remember those? Go about maybe halfway. Make sure it's nice and colored in. Now let's take our yellow, and we want to go now I'm going to turn my paper as I need. Like I told you, move your paper around the way you need it. So my yellow, I'm going to come from the other direction and go over that orange. And you'll see it starting to blend. And then you can go right back in with your other one and blend it the other direction again. Just going over that line to make sure you have a nice blend right there. There's your orange and yellow. You could also do it with the lighters. Let's do the other wing with the lighter orange and yellow. So it's going to depend on how bold you want it. Now, usually I like to do that little feather edge here that I taught you. It seems to blend a little easier. So make sure you got it nice and saturated. Now we'll bring in our lighter yellow, and you can use, I'm going to show you, you can do this with the bullet tip too. So we're going to come from the other side and go into that feathered area. Get it nice and saturated at that joining point. See how that transitioned really nicely? It works great. Well, now we're going to go to the other side and we're going to do a blended blend. That means we're going to use all 4 of the markers. Okay? So we'll take our darkest pumpkin pie and we're only going to come a quarter of the way in. Okay? Make sure you have that little feather edge and nice and filled in there. Now we'll take our light pumpkin pie, go right into it. Remember our regular blending basics? Go right into there and smooth out that line. Smooth out that blend. Now we'll come from the other direction with our dark first. Remember, I do dark to light. I like the way that works. So there's our dark. And then we're going to go over both of them with our yellow, our lightest daffodil. And that's called a blended blend, where you're going to do your normal color blend on the same image. I kind of like the way that turns out better. You're going to go back in with your lights and blend over that again. Coming into it, take your light daffodil again, go over that same, and see how you have a really nice color transition. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit for you. My apologies. It looks different on my computer than it does to you. So we have our regular color to color, or we have our blended blend of two-tone. So let's do another color. Let's try something else. Guess what I'm going to pull out for you to see? These are a couple of the new colors coming in the new catalog. Tahitian Tide, look at that vibrant blue, and Parakeet Party. Yay! Let's do a butterfly and let's do our blendeds. So I'll take my darkest parakeet. And since I want this ink to stay wet while I work it, I'm going to do one wing at a time. So now we'll bring in our light parakeet. Or this isn't parakeet, this is Tahitian Tide. We're going to blend out that edge. And a nice little blended edge there. Now we'll bring in our parakeet. We're going to bring in the dark parakeet first. I'm going to spin my paper so it's easy to, how I do. I guess if you're a lefty it might be a little different. So we're going to add our dark parakeet, kind of creating our little feather edge. We'll bring in our light parakeet. And we're going to go all the way into that light tide there. Blend that edge where the greens meet. The green and the blue meet. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that amazing? I'm going to take my light Tahitian again and go right over that same blended area there. Just so we have a nice smooth transition. How pretty is that for a color? Taking my lights and blending over them again so we have a nice transition. Look at that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll speed up the video here, but I want to finish this butterfly because I want to show you a neat technique that's going to make your butterfly kind of pop over the page. But we also need, I'm going to show you how to color this body real quick. I'm going to bring in my black marker. This is my dark basic black. And we want that butterfly body to have a little dimension to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave a little white space on it. And that'll give it like a reflection as though that body is round. See there? Just something as simple as that. So let me finish coloring this butterfly and then I'm going to show you a really cool technique to make this butterfly, which is a flat image, pop off the page. So let me color this real quick. Okay, so you have this beautiful butterfly. Say you want to give this butterfly some dimension to pop off the page. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring in my light smoky slate and I'm going to make a cast shadow on him. I'm going to use my bullet tip, but I'm going to make a cast shadow that's going to make him look like he's laying on top of the sheet. Going right up against that black of that. It's going to kind of fade off there for you. Going to have a little bit of shadow on the body. Now I'm just going to bring in my color lifter and smooth out the very edge of that cast shadow. Just go right along the edge so that the darkest part is up against your butterfly. You're just going to kind of bleed out that one edge. And see how that changed that to make that butterfly look like he's sitting on top of that paper? Isn't that cool? That's a cast shadow. Alright, well, fill out your sheet. Do some regular blends where you take just two colors and blend them together. Then do your blended blends and see which one you like best. Make yourself a little cheat sheet. Make sure you fill out your legend. And then you can use this sheet in the future. Okay? So this was our episode 4, which is two-tone blending. Next week, we are going to work with the different things you can do with this color lifter. Some people call it a color blender or a colorless blender. Some call it a color lifter. You know what? It's whatever you want to call it. It's technically called a color lifter. And next week, I'm going to show you several different things besides what we just did that you can use this to create some really neat effects in your coloring. So go ahead, play with your practice sheet this week, and absolutely feel free to ask me any questions. I will get back to you as quick as possible. But till then, I will see you next week. And I hope you have a very happy Stampin' Day. Bye-bye now. Stay safe out there.